Shabbat Shalom. So we're going to be discussing what the Father has been teaching me. We know that in Christianity we were taught that we are not supposed to be doing the commands anymore and that they're null and void, and that the New Testament is also null and void, and that if we go back and we read from it that we will be confused. That is what we're taught from churches today. We are taught that if we are to do any commands, if they are only the 10 commands. But what does the New Testament actually say in concordance with the Old Testament? We know that one of the most common sins out there today, beyond just the 10 commands, is homosexuality. One of the most popular cases in the Word is actually Sodom and Gomorrah, which is again in the Old Testament. What is a little bit confusing is that Paul and different people in the Bible, other than our Messiah, tells us that we're not supposed to be doing certain sins. So how does that make sense with just being the 10 commands? It doesn't make any sense. It really does not make sense if, like different things. We know that homosexuality is wrong. We know that bestiality and rape is wrong. That's beyond the 10 commands. Just think about that for a moment. Does it really make sense that that Paul is telling us that there's a list of sins that he lists off in different books of his that we are not to do, or will be cut off and thrown into the fire? Messiah also tells us this. Peter tells us this. James tells us this, that we are supposed to watch over our walks and to watch what we do. We also know that faith without works is dead. Okay, so in the Old Testament, we're going to explain a little bit of what the Messiah was teaching. We're going to debunk a little bit of what is taught to us. Okay, so the Messiah tells us that the way is straight and narrow. Keep that in mind. He also tells us, and we all know this, and this is most popularly thrown out there, is that the Messiah is telling us, he tells us the 10 commands, and he also tells us the 2 commands, which is the most common ones we want to be focusing on, that is our perspective of our walk, that it is about love. It is not about the law anymore, it's about love, because love is the fulfillment of the law. So let's see what the Messiah actually says about love, and what it says. So, one moment. He tells us here in Matthew 22, 36 to 40, Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah? And the Messiah said to him, You shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, with all your mind. This is the first and great command. And the second is like it, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Now let's see what it says in the Torah. And this is ironic that it is also in the Torah. And this is the command. And Deuteronomy, it says, Deuteronomy 6, 1 through 5 says, And this is the command, the laws and the right rulings which Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded, to teach you to do in the land which you are passing over to possess, so that you fear Yahuwah your Elohim, to guard all his laws and his commands which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the days of your life, that your days be prolonged. And you shall hear, O Israel, and you shall guard you, that it might be well with you. So it is well with us. And that you increase greatly as Yahuwah your Elohim of your fathers has spoken to you, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. Okay. So again, we see here that is one of the 2 commands that the Messiah is telling us, to love him with all that we have. Okay, now let's see what else it says here in Deuteronomy. Excuse me a moment, I've lost it. Where did I put it? Okay, Deuteronomy 10, 12 through 20 says, And now Israel, what is Yahuwah your Elohim asking of you but to fear Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being. to guard the commands of Yahuwah and his laws, which I command you today for your good. So it does good for us to keep these commands. Interesting. Keep that in mind also. See, the heavens and the heaven of heavens belong to Yahuwah your Elohim, also the earth with all that is in it. Yahuwah delighted only in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, you above all peoples as it is today. And you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart and harden your neck no more. Wait a minute. We know that in the New Testament, and Paul talks about this even, the foreskin of our heart, that our hearts need circumcised. This is also in the Torah. Okay, keep that in mind. For Yahuwah your Elohim is Elohim of mighty ones, and Master of masters, the great El, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality nor takes a bribe. He executes rightfully to the fatherless and to the widow, and loves the stranger, giving him food and garment. Okay, hold up again. The Messiah, we know, says in Matthew that that the Father sends rain on the just and the unjust. So again, this is also in the Torah. He's quoting again from the Torah, paraphrasing from the Torah. And you shall love the stranger, for you are strangers in the land of Egypt. Fear Yahuwah your Elohim, serve him, and cling to him and swear by his name. So again, love the stranger, love your neighbor. Again, he's just paraphrasing the Torah. Leviticus also mentions to love our neighbor as ourselves. 1 minute. If I'd like to, I could actually read it. I was just reading it out of it this morning. 1 moment. It'll be 1 second. Sorry. Alrighty. Yeah, Leviticus 19:18, it says that we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. So, and it does say that a couple times, Leviticus, not just Leviticus 19:18. So, let me see here. What does it actually say? You shall not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. In Leviticus 18. And it also, it also talks about not taking vengeance, which we also know, again, is in the New Testament. Interesting, isn't it? So, is this making sense? Now, many people say that the Messiah, when he came, that he came to abolish the Torah and the prophets. Well, what does it say in Matthew 17? Through 19, it does say we're 5:17, through 19. He says that he did not come to abolish the Torah and the prophets, that he came to fulfill it. Now, logically, let's just think about this in the context of the language, in our language. He did not come to abolish the Torah and the prophets, but he came to abolish the Torah and the prophets. What? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense that he would say 1 minute that he did not come to abolish it, but he came to change or to destroy it. Does that make any sense? No, it does not. The context in itself points out that he did not come to abolish anything. He came to do it. I mean, he is our sinless sacrifice. Of course, he had to do it. And so he was doing the commands of his Father. And if you read when you read and study the Messiah, you'll see he is teaching from the Torah and is living the Torah. Okay, so now we also see that he does mention the 10 Commands. So again, it doesn't make sense that he would be saying that he came, he did not, that he came to abolish the Torah and the prophets if he's again preaching from it and preaching the 10 Commands, which are also in the Torah. Okay, let's see what it says here. In Matthew 19:17-21, he said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good except one, Elohim. But if you wish to enter into life, guard the commands." And he said to him, "Which?" And the Messiah said, "You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. Respect your mother and your father. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." And we'll just read just to finish off the context here. And the young man said to him, "All these I have watched over from my youth, and what do I still lack?" And the Messiah said to him, "If you wish to be perfect, go and sell what you have, give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me." Okay, so, now what does it say in Exodus 20:1-17, which is the Ten Commands? And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You did not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters in the earth. And you shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing kindness upon thousands to those who love me and guard my commands. You shall not bring the name Yahuwah your Elohim to naught, for Yahuwah does not leave the one unpunished who brings his name to naught. Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. 6 days you do labor and shall do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soil which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder. You do not commit adultery. You do not steal. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. You do not covet your neighbor's house. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. Again, Messiah is quoting from the Torah, the Ten Commands. And that is what he is telling this young man to do here. So again, that doesn't make sense that the Torah and the prophets are done away with if he's quoting directly from the Torah and the prophets? It doesn't make any sense. If he come to abolish it, then why is he teaching it? Now, let's just use a little bit of common sense here too. We know that the Messiah is teaching from the Torah and the prophets. We know that there is other sins listed in the New Testament that we are not to break. Even beyond that, let's look at it this way. We know that there is laws that we are supposed to keep, right? We know that if we run a stoplight, for example, that we're going to get in trouble. We know that's wrong. We know our consciences will tell us the basic morality of what is right and wrong. That is just something that's built in us. Why is it built in us? What good is it for us to say that without boundaries that it is any good? What good is it to have anarchy run amok around us? What if we don't keep any kind of laws? Then what is right? What is wrong? What then tells us what is right and wrong? There would be no law. It would be a lawless people, and the people would be running around like criminals and heathens, and it would be a wicked way to go. I mean, even now that we have laws, we're still running around evil. I mean, just look around you. Just look around you. The Messiah also tells us that if iniquity abounds, lawlessness abounds, that love will wax cold. And we're pushing, the churches and other people around us are pushing that we're not supposed to be keeping laws. Yet we're also having laws around us that we naturally like to keep, that we're supposed to keep. We know it's not right to, do different things in school. If you're in school, you're not supposed to be, you're supposed to keep certain requirements in respect. Your teachers, we already know we're supposed to respect our elders, we're supposed to respect our parents. These are things that are written in the Torah. These are things also in the New Testament. We have it in our hearts. We know that we have a conscience that tells us that we're not supposed to be committing fornication. And that is a moral that is from the Torah. And it is again reiterated in the New Testament. We also know that bestiality and rape, and homosexuality, these are wrong things as well. Well, if it was only the 10 Commands, then why are these also wrong? And if nothing is considered wrong anymore, then what is considered right? And if we run away from boundaries, from what is supposed to be right, what then is love? How are we supposed to love one another if we are not keeping some boundary, if we're not, staying within our boundaries? It's not going to do any good for us. We're going to hurt each other, which is exactly what the Messiah was coming to tell us and give us clarity. He came to live the Torah, to teach the Torah, he paraphrased a lot of things from the Torah, but he taught from the Torah. And he was telling us in the most clarified way that he could, to simplify it for us, because we are simple-minded, that Torah is love. And that without Torah, we have no love, and we cannot love our Father in heaven, and that we cannot actually walk. We can't even walk as Messiah walked. We can't be Messiah-like, or as some people say, Christ-like, without, acting like our Messiah. How can we be like Messiah if we are not acting like our Messiah, trying to follow in his steps? He even says that we're supposed to deny ourselves, pick up our crosses, and follow him. So, love is Torah. Love is the instructions. In fact, let me get into this a little bit further. We know the Messiah says that if you love me, you'll keep my commands. We know that he is teaching the same things from the Torah. We know that 1 John 5:3 also says that the love is keeping the commands. In fact, let me read 1 John 5:1-3. We'll just read it through. The one who believes that Yahushua is Messiah has been born of Elohim, and everyone who loves the one bringing forth also loves the one having been born of him. By this we know that we love the children of Elohim when we love Elohim and guard his commands. For this is the love of Elohim, which also means God, and it just means God basically, that we guard his commands, and his commands are not heavy. His commands are not heavy. They're not burdensome. So why do we make this a burden? Why are we making the commands a burden? It's not. It's love. It's our perspective that weighs us down, and it's also the traditions of men that weigh us down. It has nothing to do with the commands. Commands are good. Even in the Torah says that the commands are good. They do us good. Even in the prophets it talks about that when we keep the commands, that we're pursuing peace, shunning evil, and we're pursuing peace. And if you have the Spirit within you, that it will also point you to the Torah. And if you try to keep the Torah to the best of your ability, you're loving him with all your being by doing that. But you're also keeping peace around you. You're making peace. Because the more that you keep those boundaries and you keep those morals and values, the less strife, the less drama you're going to cause into your life. You're not going to, if you break different things, you're going to upset a lot of people. You're going to upset people if you keep the commands too. But you're going to have a lot less stress, a lot less drama. Without these laws, these commands, and without the Messiah in us, we cannot have peace, because we're self-destructive in our nature. We're naturally self-destructive, and we cause a lot of pain and grief through our sin. And we know that First John also says that sin is lawlessness. So, again, goes back again to the Torah. What does the new covenant actually say for us that it is? What is the new covenant, since that is one of the stickler points as well? Ezekiel 36, 26 through 27 says, A new heart will I also give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. So the new covenant is, we receive the Spirit, which we all are supposed to have. If you don't have that, I would recommend you pray and seek for that, to be baptized in water and spirit like our Messiah also was. For that is our comforter and our leader, and it'll lead us into the right ways. And if we forget anything, he will remind us of what we're supposed to be doing. And hey, don't be going and crossing a boundary here. It'll also help you in different times of trouble as well, and save you. It is wisdom. Okay. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. So again, the Spirit's going to cause us to walk in His Torah and prophets. It's going to cause us to walk in righteousness and pursue holiness. And it's going to keep us in a right way. It's going to teach us how to love and to bring peace to our world and to be salt and light the way the Messiah says that we're supposed to be salt and light. Okay. Excuse me. What we've discussed today is we're supposed to be keeping the Torah and the prophets, and that logic and what the word says itself in the most basic way tells us that we're supposed to be keeping the Torah, and that it is not burdensome, and that it is love. And again, if you still want to say that's only the 10 Commandments, we're going to read this here. And it says here in Deuteronomy 30:10, also, again, that it is not burdensome here. If you shall hearken to the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim, to keep his commands and statutes which are written in the book of the law or Torah, which also means instructions. And by the way, the Torah is Genesis through Deuteronomy. Okay. And if you turn unto Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. For this command which I command you today is not hidden from you, nor is it far off. Okay, so it's not difficult. And it's for our good. If you read on it, we'll say that it's for our good. So we keep the Torah and the commands. So what then? Why are we being taught this today about the churches? I would say this. You have a spirit within you, and you're tired of this confusion. I know your struggle. I know your pain. I know exactly how that feels, and I totally understand your frustration. What I recommend you doing is something that I had to do in my early walk, because I was pretty much throwing in the towel because of this confusion, reading what the Word says and hearing what men were saying, and I listened to men, and I fell away every time I listened to men. So what I ask you today, and not saying that you shouldn't listen to men, I'm just saying you should be doing this yourself. As Jeremiah 29:13 says, if you seek him with all your heart, you shall find him. So I'm asking you to pray and to seek him yourself. We're called to test everything. We're called to study to show ourselves approved. So what I'm asking you today is to do that for yourself. Don't listen to what everyone else is saying. Seek him yourself. If you want to know the truth, you got to go to the voice of truth. You got to go to the one whose name is truth. So ask him. Pray. Fast if you have to. Fasting breaks strongholds. Fast. Isaiah 58 is a great reference point if you'd like to know about how to fast. Great way. It's a great one. You could also read what the Messiah says about fasting in Matthew. So, I want you to do this. I want you, if you do not have the Spirit within you, go and get yourself baptized in the Spirit and water, and seek it, and pray and cry for that guidance, so that it can teach you and lead you and comfort you, because you need that. That is also a part of the new covenant. If you're going to be under the new covenant, you better be getting your Spirit. 2, seek him with all that you have. Pray and cry out to him. Humble yourselves to cry out to him. I don't care if you're bawling. Be vulnerable with him. Be intimate with him. Do not be ashamed to come to him, because you need his help. If we do not seek him, we're not going to find him. But if we do seek him, we will find him. So I'm asking you, please, please, do not listen to me. Do not listen to other men. Do it yourself. Seek him yourself. Pray to him yourself. Fast if you have to. Cry out to him. Don't be ashamed to come to him. You need to come to the light anyway if you're going to be cleansed. So come to him, and he will help you. And he loves you. He wants nothing but good for his children. So please seek him yourselves. Shalom.